Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Today's talk we are going to discuss the Panchakosha Vichara, which is a specific technique to know the true self, to know the pure I, to lead us to the knowledge of the Atman. So if you actually test your I sense just now, check and see what do we mean by I. We know very well that both body and mind are objects of our perception. We are functioning through them, definitely. The body is mine, the mind is mine, but I am the body requires to be investigated. I am the mind requires to be investigated. The irrefutable, incontrovertible experience of I am, which is a universal experience, this is a very important clue, you can say, to the presence of the Atman. Because this sense of I am, if you actually investigate into it, it appears to be quite independent of body and mind. The I am, the I sense is ever throbbing. Actually, when awareness comes to full bloom, the first expression is aham sphuran, the sense of the I throb, you can say. This happens even in ordinary experiences, like when one experiences panic or when one is suddenly encounters something, there's a kind of throb one feels within oneself. Not that that is the aham sphuran, but a sense of deep sense of I amness is the common experience of all humanity. We all have felt it sometime or the other. Now, this sense of I am, what does it exactly mean? So, this is what Panchakosha Vichara is going to tell us. It is an answer to this question. Usually, we are so identified with the body-mind complex, we never take up an investigation like this. We are sort of convinced, mixed up with the body and mind. This happens because the self, the Atman, renders the mind conscious. It is the source of our consciousness. It first renders the mind consciousness. The mind reflects the light of the self and considers itself to be self-luminous. This again reflects in the body, and the body appears to be enlivened. So our natural tendency is to identify with this body-mind complex. But if you analytically try to find out what is happening, you will see that the body itself can never claim an I. The body cannot say I am, nor can your mind, but something in you has this aham sphuran. Something in you says I am. So what is that sense? People have felt this in various ways at various times. Many teenagers feel this. If you sit silently and develop a meditative mood, you will feel a vast sense of being, which is not particularly identified with anything. So this is an important clue, you can say. Aham pratyaya saram, the Atman is called. It is the essence of this I thought, this I amness. What exactly is that amness is the self. Let me give you a rather mundane example. See, when you click your selfie and look into your selfie, so you are appreciating your selfie. What exactly, who is seeing what? What is seeing what? See, your mind is, through your mind you are watching your body. But who's the one who's watching? The intellect is sort of watching, the mind watching the body. The whole process is happening in your awareness. So fundamentally, in awareness, the intellect is perceiving the mind, perceiving the body. So awareness is so intrinsic a part of our experience, our knowledge, our perception, that we miss it. This is so obvious a fact. So in this Panchakosha Vichara, this is what they are going to tell us, that what you consider yourself to be, a conscious entity, a personality, if you analyze it to its core, you will find that these are all pieces which have been enlivened by something else from within. And that source of your conscious experience is pure consciousness, the Atman. So the Panchakosha Vichara, which there's a whole model to it, which of course first I would like you to see the model in this particular slide, and then we will go into the Panchakosha Vichara. Please observe this slide. Here you have the Panchakosha model, which tells you the Atman, the real self, is enshrouded by 5 sheaths. Kosha means sheath or covering. So the external, outermost kosha, the crust of your personality as it were, is the Annamaya Kosh or the body. It is made out of food, so it's called Annamaya Kosh. The next sheath is the pranic energy, which is actually your vital energy, the vitality you feel within you, the prana. That is the next sheath, which covers the soul actually, because they are telling you from within. It's an internal perception. From within it looks like this. And then there's the sheath of the mind, what is called Manomaya Kosh. Then there is the sheath of the intellect, Vijnanamaya Kosh. And then there's the causal sheath, the causal body. It's called the Anandamaya Kosh. And at the center of all of this is the Atman. So on a 2-dimensional slide, this is how you will find the model to be. And once, if you have to change a person, you see, even Abraham Maslow said this, you actually have to change his awareness of himself. So what exactly do we consider ourselves to be in this entire model? An uninvestigated mind will only consider themselves to be the Annamaya Kosh, because that is visible. But the vitality, the vital energy that we feel within us, it's so much more a part of our personality, because if you did not have this energy within you, you could not function. The mind, after that, check and see, that's an even greater part of your personality, because you function only through your mind. And your intellect, it's a bigger bite of your personality. And the causal body, that is the sheath which actually, the first sheath over the Atman as it were. So the Atman remains enshrouded in these 5 sheaths. That is why Panchakosha. Now we are going to do vichar through this, which means we are going to discriminate through this, analyze these sheaths to find out the reality of the Atman. So before I go into this Panchakosha Vichara, I would like to just describe this important point. See, in Vedant, the Annamaya Kosh is called the Sthula Sharir, the gross body. The Pranamaya Kosh, the Manomaya Kosh and the Vijnanamaya Kosh, these 3 together are called the Sukshma Sharir, the subtle body. And the Anandamaya Kosh is called the Karan Sharir, causal body. So the Atman is enshrouded by 3 bodies as it were. You wear 3 bodies, not just one body. And how it is understood is the Annamaya Kosh is just the external crust of your personality, which falls with death. But the rest of you is carried over. The Sukshma Sharir is entirely present after death. The Karan Sharir, of course, is present. And without the Atman, there will be no existence. So the rest of you is carried over. Death is just the fall of the Annamaya Kosh, the physical body. So this is how the 3 bodies are described in Vedant. Now, please observe this particular slide. When we look at moonlight, or when you look at the full moon night, at night when you find the full moon, you can see, you feel that it is so bright. It is emitting so much light. But do you know, all of it is borrowed light. It is borrowed from the sun. Now, this is an example to show you exactly how this system is enlivened by the Atman within. The Atman makes the mind conscious. The source of the conscious mind is pure consciousness itself, which is called the Atman. And in turn, the mind makes the body conscious. That same reflected light reflects further, and the body appears enlivened. And we attribute our being to this body and mind because they appear enlivened. The source of this awareness is the self, the Atman. The rest are functioning on borrowed light. But we don't recognize this because we tend to identify with light wherever it is available. So we think we are the body and mind. Light is a very good metaphor for awareness. And awareness functions somewhat like light. So you see, the source of your light, the source of awareness is actually the Atman. And these 5 sheets, don't think it's like a box within a box within a box. It's actually not like that. As I told you in the example of the selfie, it's in your awareness that the intellect and the mind and the body are functioning. It is actually like that. So let us proceed towards the Panchakosha Vichara, which is actually part of the Taittiriya Upanishad. And the Taittiriya Upanishad has a very beautiful portion called Bhrigu. It's a conversation, it's a story. So you will enjoy it. It's a story between a father and a son, and both of them are rishis. The father's name is Varun Rishi and the son is Bhrigu. And the son is very interested in Brahma Vidya, the knowledge of Brahman, the supreme reality. So he approaches his father and tells him, this entire portion is called Bhrigu. So he asks his father, Bhrigu asks his father, Varun, that, can you tell me what is this reality behind this existence? What is Brahman? Who am I truly? And then Varun Rishi tells him, Tapasa Brahma Vijignyasasva. My son, through tapasya, inquire into the nature of your own reality. Try to find it out. So then Bhrigu goes for tapasya. See, some amount of meditation, spiritual practice is required along with this inquiry. Usually, for the ordinary mind, this is required. Only very advanced minds can straight away, through the power of vichar, arrive at the truth of consciousness. Why is meditation required? Because you see, this is an entire concentration, penetration into the subject. It's not an objective knowledge. So the mind has to learn to turn and stay inward at the point of pure consciousness. For this to happen, for it to discover the truth of pure consciousness, the mind has to be very steady, completely committed, inward turned. So that is why tapasya is required. Bhrigu goes for tapasya. After some time, he comes and tells his father, I think I know. I am the body. Annam Brahmeti Vijanat. The truth about me, the truth about Brahman is the body, Annamaya Kosh. Then the father says, no, my son. Now, why are you not the body? Most of the world thinks they are the body. The body is yours, definitely. But you are not the body, they are telling you. That is not your identity. That is the instrument through which you are functioning. Why is this so? Because the body is an object of your perception. How can the object and the subject be the same? This is Drik-Drishya Vivek. The seen and the seer are always different. The object and the subject can never be the same. So if you can study your body, it itself means you are apart from the body. So you see, entire medical science is the study of the body. You are able to do it because deep within you, you are apart from it. which is functioning like a machine by itself. It's an instrument in your hands, it belongs to you, but you are not it. And also it is ever changing. The self is never changing. So this ever changing body, which is given to so many modifications, which is not just changing, it is so impermanent, and which is non-self luminous, not with an awareness of its own. How can it be you? That is the question. And that is why he says that, you see, anything which is an object of your perception with these attributes, these qualities, cannot be you. Go back to your meditation. So Bhrigu goes back to his meditation. After some time he comes and says, I think I have understood it is the prana within me. That is the real me. Pranam Brahmeti Vyajanat. But the father again says, no, my son, that is not you. Now, why are you not your vitality? Many times we may feel, isn't it, the vital energy within us, that's me. But they are saying no, because even your vital energy is object of your perception, objective to you. And it is ever changing, it has movement, it can increase, it can decrease. Due to all these factors, you cannot be the vital energy. It is yours definitely, but it's not you. Then again he goes for his meditation. Then he comes back for the third time and says, Father, I think now I have understood Mano Brahmeti Vyajanat. I am the mind. Most of us would say this. Yes, I am my mind. Then the father says, my son, you are not even that. Now, why are we not the mind? Because thought is an object of your perception. It is an object. You can remain aware of your thought. That is why you have memories. You can also remain aware of the absence of the thought process. Haven't you seen this? A little practice of meditation and you will understand this point. You are aware of your thoughts. You are aware of the absence of your thought, which means you are apart from the thought process. You are apart from your mind. Mind also can become dull, can change, can become bright, can be happy, can be sad, constantly changing, constantly modifying. So you cannot be that. The self cannot be that. And that is why he says, my son, the mind is completely an object of your perception. Please go back to your meditation. And then Bhrigu practices more meditation, more deeper meditation. And then he comes back and says, Father, I think now I have understood Vijnanam Brahmeti Vyajanat. I think the Vijnanmay Kosh, which means the higher intellect, that is me. The father again says, no, my son, sorry, you are not even this. See, you are not even your intellect, he is saying. Because the intellect also can be studied objectively. You can sharpen it, you can hone it, or you can also dull it. Isn't it? If you don't exercise it, it will get dull. Your intellect can change in many ways. Your intellect can change directions. Your intellect is in movement. Your intellect is an object of your perception. How can you be it? So go back to your meditation. Then finally Bhrigu comes and says, after a long time, that now I think I have discovered the real self. I am that causal sheath, the Anandamay Kosh. The great joy of Sushupti is supposed to arise from this sheath. So through my meditation I have understood I must be that Anandamay Kosh. Then the father says, you have come close to the Atman, but not yet. Why are you not this causal sheath? Because you know, even the deepest levels of joys in you are given to change. The causal body also changes. Causal body is the final sheath, the final covering over the soul. So do a little more meditation and you will understand. It is only through the power of meditation that you can understand how the causal sheath also is not you. The bliss that you experience, that is also not you. It is yours, it is not you. So again he goes to his meditation and finally he realizes the Atman as that light of pure awareness which is there in the supreme space of his heart. Parame Vyoman Pratisthita. And it is of the nature of pure consciousness, nothing else can be said about it. All these Panchakoshas are external to it, and it shines in its own light. See, this is the glory of this self-knowledge. Just like how you don't require a torch to illumine the sun. Do you require a torch to illumine the sun? You don't require anything to know the self other than a completely purified, empty mind. By this process of vichar, a right mind will plunge into that state, plunge into pure being. In fact, your torch actually gets its power from the solar light of the sun. So your intellect and mind are actually powered by awareness. You understand this basic fact. You can't try to understand that awareness through the intellect, the mind, through any of these Panchakoshas. It is that source factor which illumines all of these. The only way to realize it is to turn the mind within and apply intense spiritual practice and vichar, deep level inquiry. And this is how Bhrigu discovered the Atman. And then he was all effulgent in this knowledge. And in this very Bhrigu is also given what happens as a result of this knowledge. He is now an enlightened being. And what happens as a result? Annavanannado bhavati mahan bhavati prajaya pashubhi brahmavarchasena mahan kirtya. That person gets solid health, both physical and mental. Because you see, when the light of pure awareness is allowed to flow unobstructed in the mind and the body, it results in great health. Ayurveda will tell you this, that all forms of disease are nothing but a malfunctioning of prana, a malfunctioning of the energies of our physical and mental being. So if this is corrected by the touch of pure awareness, then it will result in great health. And then Mahan Bhavati, he becomes great from within. Truly great in the sense, not just in terms of the recognition he gets, but the inner satisfaction and fulfillment that he gets. He becomes an Atmaram, established in his own being. The highest success of life is in that, isn't it? If you can be happy by yourself. And yet, the best minds come to him. He attracts the most glorious minds in this world because he himself is illumined. Prajaya here means not just children, but great like-minded people come to him. Pashubhi, cattle in those times was a measure of wealth. Great wealth will come to him. And his fame will be great because of this Brahmavarchas, the effulgence of his personality. He has understood the core of his personality paradigm. This Panchakosha model is nothing but a personality paradigm. And the core of his personality, he has been able to grasp in first-person experience, in his own experience. And this makes him a self-effulgent being, able to draw the best minds. This is called Varchas, the effulgence which an enlightened soul has, the divine aura around him. So, this is what it leads to, self-knowledge. And that is why the actual crux of the whole matter is somehow to penetrate into our true being using techniques like this. This is actually a technique of vichar, a technique used in Vedanta. Vichar means analytical thought towards self-realization. Vivekananda says, if you read Vivekananda literature, you will find it. He says that the self, the knowledge of the Atman, that is the actual purpose of all our endeavors. He says the only God to worship is the human soul in the human body. That is the Taj Mahal of temples. In fact, that is why the human body is great. The human mind is glorious because it houses the Atman. It is that system which has as its core unit the infinite one, and it is powered by the infinite from within. This is the glory of the human being. We will end today's session here. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. peace, peace, peace.